Welcome back to the Data Love Learning Together YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Mayank, and on this YouTube channel, we cover all about the data, database, dataset, and programming languages such as Python and R. Concepts with the hands-on and learning together. So if you are into this type of content, please consider subscribing it. Okay, so this is another video on the Python versus R. You might have chosen a specific path of data science, probably machine learning or data analyst, and might be confused between the Python and the R programming language, wondering whether you should use the Python or the R for data analysis. If so, you came to the right place here. We will see that what these two programming languages are and which one is better than the other, in what sense, and which is the right language to start with. Again, one language is not better than the other. It's all depend on your use cases and the questions you are trying to answer. So it's always be a wrong statement to say that this particular language is better than the another language. No, which is not right. It's all depend on your use case and the questions you are trying to answer. So before judging or comparing, let's get familiar with these two programming languages, which are R and Python. So R and Python both are open source programming languages. Both of them has a large community. So if you are stuck anywhere, you have many people sitting over there to help you. Irrespective of what purpose you are using, if you are using R or Python or both, you will get support from a large community for this. New libraries or the tools are keep on adding continuously, right? So the bag of the Python and the R is full of lot of libraries and the tools. So you don't have to worry. Each and everything is already made ready for you. You just need to pick the right tool, right library, and start using it. You don't have to do the development from scratch for that specific thing. R is mainly used for statistical analysis, while Python provides a more general approach to the data science or data analysis part. Again, R and Python or both or whichever language you would be selecting, make sure that you invest the time into it. It requires a lot of time investment. It's not like that you will start today learning Python or R and in a day or two, you will be the master. No, you have to invest the time in there in learning the language. Both R and Python handles huge database or data set. Irrespective of the size, they can handle it a lot. And again, the big thing is both the programming languages, R or the Python, both are free to use. So if you want, you can start anytime and there is no cost. Initially, like what I said, it's an open source programming language. As it is an open source programming language, it's free to use. R and Python are the state of the art in terms of programming language oriented towards the data science. Both the languages are mainly used for the data science, but again, in data science is not a small field. It's a very huge field. So it has different parts into it: data analysis, visualization, machine learning, deep learning. So various things are there, business analytics. So it all depends on your requirement. Based on that, you have to decide which field or which programming language you need to use. Now, I will not be going into the history of Python or R, when and how it got developed, why it is booming now, why when it got created, who created. If you are interested in getting all these informations, I would suggest to please visit the official website of Python or R. I will leave the link to the official document in the description box. Please visit there and get to know that when R initially started, when Python initially started, and how they started booming. Right? Here, we'll just focus on the R language. These are not the complete detail of the R, but just the high-level snippets, so that you will get familiar with these languages. As has written, R is now one of the richest ecosystem to perform data analysis. So R is mainly for the data analysis, statistical data analysis. There are around 12,000 plus packages available in CRAN. That's the repository. Don't worry about the big jargons. It is just an open source repository where there are more than 12,000 packages available in R. So you can imagine like what packages it would be providing. It has all the packages which you want to perform or which you want to solve your problem. R has everything there. It is possible to find a library for whatever the analysis you want to perform. This is what I was mentioning, right? The rich variety of library makes R the first choice for statistical analysis, especially for specialized analytical work. As I mentioned here, it's the first and the richest ecosystem to perform data analysis, especially for statistical analysis. There are various IDEs you can use, but the R Studio is the most famous one where most of the public uses the R Studio. This IDE, R Studio, you need to install on your local system. But there is an alternative option provided by the Google Colab where you can work with R online in his platform. So you don't have to install anything. You can just go connect to the Google Colab along with your Gmail account, and you will be good to start with the R programming. To continue on the R itself, it is designed to answer statistical problems, machine learning, and the data science. This point I've already mentioned you about this. R is the right tool for data science because of its powerful communication libraries. We already seen there are 12,000 plus packages, libraries, and the tools available. So that makes it the right tool for data science and analytical or statistical analysis. R is equipped with many packages to perform time series analysis. So it's not just limited to the specific type of data analysis. It includes the time series analysis as well, panel data and data mining. On top of that, there is not better tools compared to R. So when you are focusing on some specific parts, R is the best. But don't make the decision yet. We have not seen the another language which is Python, which will go in a moment and see what Python looks like and what Python provides. Before that, I just wanted to give a small demo that how you can use the R in Colab. As I have mentioned here, that Google Colab provide you the facility to work with R online. So I'll take you to my Google Colab. For that, you just need to log in with your account. using Gmail account, connect to your Google Drive. I'll be making another video to walk you through that, how to connect to the Google Colab and work over there. But this is just an demo purpose. So see, here I'm assigning a variable into R. For example, I'll assign a value as 999. Yeah. When I execute, the value R has been the value of variable A has been displayed here. So you can use the R in R programming language using Google Colab. Same thing when we are done with the Python, I'll show the same example how to use the Python in here. So now moving on to the Python language. Python can be pretty much do the same task which R is doing. Then what is the difference? Don't hurry, we'll see the difference between Python and R as well. But Python also do the same similar thing, not the same thing, but I'll say the similar things what R has provided or R is doing. Python is a tool to deploy and implement machine learning at large scale. Just make a note that Python is a tool to deploy and implement machine learning. Okay. This is an additional point which Python is providing. Again, Python codes are easier to maintain and more robust than R. So this is one of the difference which we see apart from R, what Python is. Python coding are much easier when compared to the R. Most of the data science job can be done with 5 Python libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, Scikit-learn, and Seaborn. There are few others such as Matplotlib, which is for visualization. Seaborn is also for visualization. Previously, Matplot are being used, but after the Seaborn is there, which gives more data visualization, more kind of live enhancements into it. That's why now data scientists, machine learning engineers, or the data analyst move towards the Seaborn. Python, on the other hand, makes replicabilities and accessibility easier than R. In fact, if you need to use the results of your analysis in your application or website, Python is the best choice. So here you got one clue that in what scenario you need to use R and in what scenario you need to use the Python. Now moving towards, similar to R, Python also has some IDEs such as Spider, IPython Notebook, which is Jupyter Notebook. All these need to be installed on your local workstation, laptop, machines, and then you need to work. Whereas Google Colab is the another one where you can go online and do the work on it without any hassle of installing any packages on your system. Python is the best tool for machine learning integration and deployment, but not for business analytics. Here is your another clue how to, like which programming language you need to select out of it, out of both Python or R. So now let's see the common difference between Python and R. Here I have listed few of the bullet points, but these are not limited. Again, as I said, it all depends on your use cases and what problem you are going to solve. Okay. So these are just highlighted bullet points. Like Python provides a more general approach to the data science. My bad. I just realized that I missed to show the demo, how you can use the Google Colab for Python. So here I'm using the same. Instead, I will take different value. And here we can say that, okay, Python is also being used. The only difference is when using the R programming language, we have to provide %% R, which indicates the Google Colab that this coding is for R. And if you're not providing, then by default, it's taken it as a Python. There are ways where you don't need to provide this magic keyword over here. We will see about that. But just to know that this is a syntax of defining a variable in our language where a and then this specific sign dash and then some value. So it's you can give any value here. So I've given, see, I'm just using, so both R and Python are working on the same one Google Colab notebook. This is a Google Colab notebook, which is specific for R. How can you verify whether this is specific for R? So if you go to the runtime and go to the runtime, select the change runtime type. Here you will say that this is specific for R. So in this notebook, you cannot run the Python code. Whereas if you want to convert it into the Python, then you need to change the runtime type. So for now, it will be this one. So this is another notebook, and this is the another notebook. Here, if you go and see the runtime type, here you don't even get the option of selecting the runtime, whether Python or R. Right. So these are two different notebooks on the Google Colab. Don't worry, I'll be creating another video on how to use the Google Colab for Python and R separately. Okay. Coming back to the difference between Python and R. So Python provides a more general approach to the data science, whereas R is mainly used for statistical analysis. The primary objective of R is the data analysis and statistics, whereas the primary objective of Python is the deployment and the production. R users mainly consist of scholars and R&D, research and development professionals, while Python users are mostly programmers and the developers. R provides flexibility to use available libraries, whereas Python provides flexibility to construct new models from scratch. Make sure that when you are dealing with the models, training it, you can do it in both R and Python. But there are some limitations you have to keep in mind. What you can do with R, what you can do with Python, what you cannot do it in R, what you can do it in Python. What you cannot do in Python can be done in R. R consist of various packages and libraries. These are some of the packages I've just mentioned. These are not limited. In the first slide, we already seen there are 12,000 plus libraries in R. And for Python also, we have seen like with the 5 common libraries, you can do the mostly of the machine learning data science problems. You can solve with those 5 libraries. If you want to go higher, then we have a TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras. Those are like high level for deep learning kind of thing, which can be used. So there are some questions. In my opinion, if you are a beginner in the data science with necessary statistical foundations, you need to ask yourself following questions. What are the questions? Which language do my colleagues use? So if your colleagues are using Python, try go with the Python instead of learning R. Probably you will have time after learning the Python, you can also learn the R, or the vice versa. If your friends are using, colleagues are using R, go and learn the R, so that you, the that the main purpose is like you should not be left alone there. And the benefit of being able to share code with your colleagues and maintain a simple software stack outward, right? So you can share your codes, you can share your thoughts, you will be on the uh, kind of not left alone. So you will have someone there, right? The next question is, do I want to learn how the algorithm works? Again, it's on you what answer you will have. You can have answer yes or no. If it is yes, probably you can go with the Python. If the answer no, you can start with R. What problem do I want to solve and what task do I need to accomplish? Again, it totally depends on you that what task you are going to solve with this, what problem you are trying to solve. If it is like business analytical kind of thing, a data analyst kind of thing, probably R would be the good choice. But if it is like for the training the model, you need to deploy it, you need to use the some kind of web development for it, probably you have to select the Python. Moving on to the next question. What are the net cost of learning a language? So as I said in the initial slides that whether it's a R language or the Python language, you have to invest time. Here the net cost is not only the monetary, which I'm talking about, but your investment on the time, how much time you can invest on the language, in learning a language. Okay. So based on this, you can decide whether you need to go with Python or R. There is always a scope. After learning a one programming language, you can definitely go with the another programming language, because after learning one programming language, it will be easy to learn the another one, because both Python and R are on the same line. Okay. There are other languages as well which are being used in the line of data analytics, machine learning, data science, deep learning, are Java and the Spark. So don't get confused with them. Just focus on the questions. Try to answer yourself that once you are read these questions, you have your answers to this question, you will definitely know your answer that whether you need to go with Python or R. Or if you have any other languages, probably you can use the similar questions over there, plus minus as well. And then you will get to the conclusion that which language you need to use for what purpose. The next question is, do I want to deploy the model? Yes, I need to deploy the model so that I can show it to the world. Then probably Python would be the best, not the R, because Python supports more towards deployment related things. What are the commonly used tools in your field? Suppose you are working in a company where the tools they use are related to the R or a Python, then probably you have to learn that language first so that you can give your best there. Or in your field, like if you are from the medical field and you want to do some data analytics, then I'll suggest to go with the Python, because Python has more good libraries over there for the image working with the images. R also has, I'm not much that aware of R for the image libraries. So once you have those questions, now you should be able to at least decide on which side you need to, or which language you need to start learning first. Now moving on further, like there are choices depends on. So in the end, I will just say that the choice between R and or Python depends on the 3 points which are listed here. The objective of our mission, like statistical analysis or deployment, the amount of time you can invest, and your company or the industry most used tools. If you are able to get to these questions and try to solve, get the answer from yourself, I think that should be the good enough to identify. Just a final note, if you already know the algorithm or want to go into the data analysis right way, then both R and Python are okay to begin with. One advantage of R is you are going to focus on the statistical methods. Remember this point. So that's it for the day. Next video will be a series of basics of R and Python. So hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. If so, please hit the like button, or if you did not like the video, then hit the dislike button and give your feedback in comments section. I will improve it in the next video. Happy learning, keep sharing, keep growing, and keep exploring.